So I think enough people have watched the Doctor Strange movie for me to talk about the spoiler section of the Doctor Strange review. If you have not seen my original Doctor Strange video, click the link annotated somewhere around here or down below. And you can check out my initial thoughts of the review. So, I went to go re-watch this movie to decide if I actually really enjoyed the film, and to catch the themes and the thematics and just the general gist of what the movie was trying to do. And I'm happy to announce that the movie is just as good as I thought it was. The movie does such a great job at sort of combining the aspects of time and really just bringing all that, bringing the focus of time with the Infinity Stone, but having it as an overarching story plot that ties in the Infinity Stone with the overall story arc. Now, speaking of Infinity Stones, I'm gonna talk about that one first. So it is confirmed that the Eye of Agamotto, the necklace that Doctor Strange wears on his neck, is actually an Infinity Stone. So that is all tying into the overarching story of Phase 1 all the way up to Phase 3. And we're tying it into the Avengers War plotline. And it's furthering a lot of plot. And this movie is arguably, I think, a lot more important than the Civil War stuff going on in Civil War at the moment. And the reason why I say that is because next year we're heading into Marvel Cosmic. We've got Thor Ragnarok coming. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're all going to be focusing on the cosmic aspects. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. But there were a few things that I was a bit confused about with the Infinity Stone. One is, I don't really understand how the Infinity Stone didn't affect Doctor Strange just body. Doctor Strange, because when we've seen the Infinity Stones, human characters often find themselves weakened by the Infinity Stone power. Like, Peter Quill was nearly destroyed by the orb, and humans in Avengers were affected by the scepter, and finally the ether nearly physically killed Jane Foster. So the time gem really didn't affect Doctor Strange, and we kind of never got an understanding as to why that was. Were there any physical dangers with the time stone being used by Doctor Strange? Could Doctor Strange have been killed if he kept on using the time stone over and over again? we don't know, because that was never mentioned at all in the overall story plot. So yeah, I really loved the time and the natural order thematic throughout the entire film. Time is a very constant theme within the story, shown with both the use of the Infinity Stone and the watch from Stephen Strange's wrist. All of it was very subtle, and time was basically used as sort of the universe's natural way of showing that the world is beginning, middle, and end. That one day the world was born, and then one day the world will end. Very much the natural order of the universe. And time is sort of isn't against that, but time is this natural flow that makes all of that happen. And time is used so interesting within the context of the film. Time is used to illustrate with the Ancient One, who is trying to buy more time. She taps into the into Dormammu's dark universe, so she can live longer, so she can prevent her own death. And I found that concept so interesting. And the Ancient One is by far my most favourite character in this film. I really want Marvel Legends to do a movie figure of that character, because the look of that character was just amazing, and Tilda Swinton did such a great job at portraying that character. She was by far one of my favourite characters in the movie. And yeah, just the way the Ancient One kind of was staving off her own death was really interesting. And that whole entire thematic worked within the context of the film. The one thing that I found confusing, though, was where Baron Mordo stood in that whole time and natural order. Like, he didn't have really a set view on how the universe should work, and his view on what his supposed to be view was shifted at least twice in the film. In the very beginning of the film, Baron Mordo was essentially all about action, about the need to fight back the forces of darkness. And then his views sort of changed and was like, oh no, it's all about natural order. And then he changed it again in a very skewed up version of that idea. And I didn't really get what Baron Mordo was trying to say. Like, was he trying to say that, it's all about natural order? Or was he trying to actually say, no, we need action within that natural order? He kind of contradicted himself at least twice, he kind of contradicted himself in the movie. I think they hadn't quite figured out what his view was. Because Baron Mordo and Doctor Strange are supposed to be this yin and yang. but I think that didn't really come out in the film all that well. So yeah, that bit was a bit unfortunate. But I really liked the idea of Baron Mordo basically deciding no more sorcerers. He essentially is becoming a bit like Sylar from the Heroes TV show, and is basically hunting them all down and taking them their mystical energy. And I really like that idea, but unfortunately the idea doesn't make a whole ton of sense. The idea isn't really fleshed out enough to really, for me to quite understand. I think Dormammu basically being a floating head was about as realistic as you could ever do Dormammu. I think some people may end up believing that this movie is a bit too much like the ending of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. So hear me out. Basically, both ends of those two, of Doctor Strange and the Silver Surfer movie, both take place in Hong Kong, China, those kind of places. Both have some evil force trying to threaten and engulf the Earth. Do you see where I'm going? Yeah. Doctor Strange basically did a better job with the ending, did a better version of the ending of the final of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. And if you look very closely, they are kind of similar. But you couldn't have done Dormammu any different from what you were doing. Because you would have to have Dormammu as a physical character, but it was how do you bring that physical character and make it realistic. I really thought the idea of Benedict Cumberbatch also doing the voice work for Dormammu was so interesting. When I read about this on Newsarama after the movie, my mind was like, wow. Because essentially that means Dormammu is the dark version of Doctor Strange. And I really liked that idea. And yeah, so that's pretty much the bulk of what I wanted to talk about in this movie. There's just one more thing I wanted to touch upon, and that was the Thor cameo. First off, the Thor cameo was really well done. I just didn't like the gloves on Doctor Strange's hands. I know that's a comic book thing. Didn't really like it all that much. I thought the Doctor Strange gloves just looked a bit goofy. But I really like the idea that Doctor Strange is tying into the Thor Ragnarok film. And that means we got Odin somewhere in the cosmos, and it's just really cool. So that's my overall thoughts of the film. Such a great film. Really enjoyed it. I thought the visuals were fantastic. I thought the fight scenes were fantastic. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch was an excellent Doctor Strange. and yeah, by far one of the best comic book films that have come out to date. Well, this year. So that's my review for Doctor Strange over. So yeah, the next film I'm going to go see is, I believe, the Harry Potter film. There might be something else that I'm going to go see. I can't remember from the top of my head. So I'm Robin That's One here, and I shall see you guys all very soon for another movie review. Bye.